boys and girls. It's a Tuesday. We're getting there. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's right around the corner. Wrestling, the weekend, more wrestling, more weekend. Not only that, but we meet such fine, amazing, beautiful, warm-hearted friends. We go to these wrestling shows to see the wrestlers. But in the interim, while that's all happening, we meet so many amazing people that go to these shows. And that's why right now we are day 2 of Fan Week. And look who we got, boys and girls. I wore this especially for Joey G. This is Stir. This is Stir the Pot with Dr. Cade and my very special guest. He has his own podcast. It's called the Sign Rip Podcast with Joey G. Our guest tonight, Jackie G. What's up, baby? I don't hear a damn thing you're saying.
Hang on, let me try.
There we go, right there, right there, right there. Stop, 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 right there.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes.
That's weird. Okay. What's up, Don? How is everything, man? I'm glad to be back on here.
Yes, yes. That was almost a tad anticlimactic. So I'm gonna do Jackie G. What's up, baby?
What's up, Don? How's it going?
Yeah. That's what. Yes. The energy. That's what we do, my man. We bring the energy with us. We leave the bullshit behind. We go to these shows, these events. We go to different states. We do the drives as fans. Not only, the boys and girls in the ring, they do the drives aplenty, but us, the fans, we do the drives aplenty too. And boys and girls, Joey G, he's a wrestling fan after my own heart because of the passion, the signs. Last night we had one, Greg Jones Isaacson, and his creativity. Never met the man. Spent like an hour, 40 minutes talking to him last night. I can't wait to meet the MFer. Just one of those guys that you really want to meet and hang out at the wrestling shows because, again, passion and his want to do these things and really try to elevate those athletes in the ring that we go to see. And you are one of those guys. You're called the Sign Father. It's even on like your IG and stuff and whatnot. And that's kind of your deal. You are Joey G, the Sign Father. So let's just start right there. We may or may not have talked about this, but we're going to kind of, if we have, I'm sorry, boys and girls, because we do see new faces. There is a few new followers, few new subscribers on the old YouTube channel. So let's talk about the signs themselves, where it came from, what got you to want to bring signs to the independent wrestling shows that we all love to go to.
All right. So hoping first off, we got no more audio problems. So am I good?
We're good. Yes.
Excellent, man. You know what? The signs, it's just, when I was growing up watching WWE Raw on TV, the one thing I noticed during the Attitude Era is the crowd was, it was so full of signs. You always saw signs like Austin 316, you smell what the Rock's cooking, Mankind is good, rest in peace like The Undertaker, man. All those awesome signs. And then there were some creative signs as well back then. So, so I always, even back when I was going to shows for WWE, back when I was younger, I was bringing signs back then too. I know it sounds shocking, but wasn't exactly getting them what they weren't leaving in the same condition as they were back then, though. Because to buy first row seats, you got to pay like an arm and a leg these days. But
yeah, absolutely. When you're going through the gates, if you will, the bigger coliseums and civic centers and whatnot, and you have these signs, and I know Joey G is not. He doesn't do the profanity. He doesn't get all crazy with his words. It's very, it's very heartfelt. It's very creative, but it's within the parameters, if you will. Joey G doesn't cross lines. have you, and I'm probably answering my own question, so I'm going to kind of subtext it. Have you ever gotten a sign taken away from the peeps over at the Dub because they like to take signs and tell people not to wear certain shirts and shit like that? And if not, have you ever seen any of those signs being confiscated back in the day?
Well, back, when I was going to WWE shows back in the day, it was more just the Attitude Era. So I never really saw signs because I felt like everything went back then. Like you could get away with so much signs back then. My signs were pretty PG back then, though, because I was like 9 or 10. So it's not like
Yeah.
my mom let me to but it's not like my mom would let me write a sign that says I got 2 words. Fuck it. But I had pretty basic signs back then. I just feel like the signs I'm bringing now to indie shows for like Test of Strength, Invictus, NEW, Tough and Talented, and everything, I can be a little more creative while still staying within the I don't want to say polite side, but at least I feel like I can be creative without getting super vulgar.
Absolutely, and you do it in a respectful way, just as Greg does. But that boy pushes the limits a little bit. I mean, I know I do too, my friend. But with some of his signs, I know you've seen some of his stuff, and the dude's really creative, but he pushes the limits a little bit. I mean, let's just take Dan the Man, the relationship with you and Dan the Man.
Okay? Oh God, Cindy's
Yes.
gonna dislike this video right off the bat. I love you, Cindy.
My love, Cindy Hart, ring announcer, upcoming, doing a fine job, doing her thing. We love her. The Heart Squad, we love her to pieces. The relationship between yourself and Dan, take everything else away, all right? Because it didn't start with what we see now as the mission. If I'm not mistaken, now correct me if I am wrong, you came in to Test of Strength at their time. Karen Bam Bam was the champion, and Dan the Man was trying and trying and trying and never succeeded on regaining his championship back from your grace, our queen, Karen Bam Bam. Is that correct, my friend?
That is very correct. And the funniest part about it is the first sign I ever made for a Test of Strength show, and I'm not talking about signs I made for like NEW at that point, but the first sign I actually created for that same not NEW, for that same COS show was the Dan the Jackass sign. I was just trying to do a creative play on words. I'm like Dan duh, and I'm thinking of all the creative like things I could put after Dan duh, because I know he was going by Dan the Man. But I was like, I want to do something hysterical. And I put Dan the Jackass as my first ever sign for Test of Strength. And that sign actually lasted like entire, I think that was the longest reigning sign I had without getting ripped up until freaking jackass Jay Bougie decided to rip it up like 8 months later.
FJ Bougie.
Yeah, I know. Guy's such a jerk face, Do you know on my birthday, he sat there and he told me to go F myself on my birthday for no reason.
Yeah, that's some BS right there, and that's why we just get on that train, boys and girls. If you see one Jay Bougie at the event, fine athlete, fine performer. Don't get me wrong. The in-ring, his words, his facials, his the way he comes through the curtain. He's part of the takeover with PJ Savage, the faceless, and the faceless ones being Jocko and Face as a tag team. Jay Bougie, do not get me wrong by any stretch of the imagination. He's an upcoming on fire talent in our area in a few different states. But get on this train, FJ Bougie.
Give credit where credit's due. The guy is extremely good at doing what he does. Mm-hmm. And that's pissing me off. He is so pissing me off to the point that he interrupted me on Twitter back in April, literally saying that the girl would probably rather go be a Jay Bougie fan, and I haven't talked to the girl really since. Oh, I never heard the end of that, man.
Outside the ring. These are the things that I really, really enjoy, Joey G. Obviously, we go to these events to see, because we can't do this kind of stuff. That's why we go see, and we are getting awestruck on some of the things that these guys and girls do in the ring and all of the things that surround wrestling and all of that stuff. And not only that, with the relationships and networking and stuff, obviously you do a podcast as well. So these friendships, relationships, and the networking, it's really a big part of it. But take all of that, take it outside the ring and just on the social media alone. Don't we have one mother bleeping hell of a time, my friend? Holy shit.
And I give so much props to Coming to Test of Strength. I feel like every time we're at the TOS shows now, and even Tough and Talented, it's like everybody getting together every single time. There's never any BS. It's just like one big giant ass wrestling family. And all the friends I've met through this time, yourself, Cindy Hart, Laura, Karen, I would say Terry, but the thing is, I've known Terry prior to TOS. Like I used to see him at NEW all the time, but we got closer through TOS. Josh. God, I'm trying to think. If I forget anybody, I feel bad because I don't like leaving anybody out. But like, everybody I got to meet through TOS that has become super great friends and like wrestling fan with me and Billy and Michael and Kelsey and Simon and Jimmy and Mike Sawicki and Michael Herdman. Everybody I've met and I've mentioned, and if I forgot anybody, I'm sorry. But I just love that we've all been like this big ass wrestling fam, and it's been so awesome to keep in touch with everybody. I've always wanted people that I could talk with like that, who even check on you, even when you're not at the shows now, and keep in touch after the rest. Really cool.
When the wrestling fam goes to, now, how long, just refresh us, how long have you been in the indie scene doing your thing at this point?
So my first indie show was back in 2015. I went to NEW, Northeast Wrestling at Dutchess County Stadium, where the Hudson Valley Renegades play. I was drawn to Matt Hardy being there because I've always been a huge Matt Hardy fan and Hardy Boys fan. Shout out to George Ramirez, by the way. I see that awesome Hardy's painting there. He makes some sick art. But that was my first drawing factor, and I went to that show. I didn't get super hooked, till like 2018. I went to Dutchess County Stadium again, and we sat first row for the first time ever at a wrestling show ever, and I had an absolute blast. I got instantly hooked. So then I bought a ticket to another show and another show and another show, and then the signs came out, and the signs get ripped up, and I'm just like loving going to every single show, and I got so many memories over time, and it's amazing.
Yes.
I could write an entire book about every single show I've been to at this point. I actually have a blog on every sign I've ever had ripped up now.
Oh wow. That's something we'll have to maybe look into that. We'll do a little more digging. You use the word memories. I talk about that all the time on this show, and it's not just us. It's also the talent that brings home on the way home, on like we do. You guys are in the car, you're chit chat, and you're going, holy shit about this and wow about that, and that son of a bitch did that, and F Antonio Bruno this, and like on the way home, you're doing your chit chat, and the boys and girls, they take those moments, some of those memories, and they bring them home with them as well on the road, and bringing them to their family. And that brings me to seeing the addition of your friends, and I know they all don't come at the same time, but they come in little spurts. But usually Joey G is always there with the posse, if you will. What is now known has become in transition, and I even put it when I announced that you were coming on today. He's he's a leader. I'll just say he's the founder. We'll call it that. He's the founder of the Insanely Rude section, the Stepdad Squad, and now as recently that I've never seen. I've said this before, and I forget which STP it was because I've done so many this month already. I've never seen anything like this in fucking Test of Strength since I've been going, and I've been going since training day 12, I want to say. We're at training day 33 that just passed, so I've been going for a minute. My God, Joey G, I've never seen a damn thing like this in Test of Strength. And that leads me to the Frost Force, which you're wearing the merch today with representing one Ryan Frost. Dude.
I love Ryan Frost. Frosty's the man,
it's I got a funny story, by the way, as we continue this, but I didn't want to cut. So, and the Frost Force, we love Ryan Frost to death now, but the funniest thing, and we were talking about this the other night at my birthday. Um, we all love Frost so much. There's no, like, I think it just hits so much at the heart how much alike he is to us, and that's why we bonded so closely to him. Um, the funniest part about Ryan Frost is that the first ever interaction between me and Ryan Frost that I still laugh about to this day is that he was teaming up with the firm, Richard E. Stone and Jay Bricks. They were teaming up against the Stepdads, and I think it was the Gabriel Sky and Dominic De Niro, the Nightcrawlers.
Yep.
And the first thing Frosty said to me, because he pointed me out in the crowd, and he said to me, because he noticed the Yankees hat that I usually wear, and he's like, "You came from New York? I hope you took a COVID test, pal." And I'm like, I was like, did he just say that?
That was a pretty good. That was a pretty good Frosty impression. Kudos to you. That was pretty spot on, my man.
But I've watched that video over and over, and I sit back and I look at Billy or backwards Blippy, and I'm just like, dude, did he just say that? Like, oh my god, can he say that? I'm like, that's a nuclear heat there. Holy shit.
Take that one. Everything aside, wherever you've been previous and wherever you've been after that, take that one interaction, and you will not. And I don't care if you're in front row or what have you at one of these bigger Coliseum events, the bigger civic centers, the stadium shows. And I know there's a lot of stuff that surrounds the big dub events and whatnot, or the AW nowadays and such. You will never, ever, never get those kind of interactions on a regular basis, so intimate, front row, no guardrails. They come down. I mean, for Christ's sakes, he lays on you guys. He jumps out of the ring and he lays on you guys nowadays. You do not get these kind of interactions when you're at the bigger events.
Exactly, man, and that's why I love independent wrestling so much more. And it's not to take anything away from WWE or AEW
No.
or Ring of Honor or TNA or New Japan, but I always feel like you said, the indie shows are so much more intimate. They got such a more closer feeling, and I really, really love seeing the local talent like so much there, and then getting to see them show up on like AEW Dark or seeing them on WWE. Like, how happy I was not that long ago, like when I went to AEW back last year, and I spotted Mike Verna. He was wrestling on AEW Dark against freaking Orange Cassidy. I was like jumping up for joy in the seats. I'm pretty sure everybody else around me was all confused, but I was like, "Oh man, that's my guy right there. I loved him."
It reminds me, there was like Cindy and I went to AEW and we were seeing the likes of Little Mean Kathleen and a couple others. But I was just speaking again last night to Greg about this, but seeing when you're at a TOS show or you're at an Invictus show, etc., and you see these talents that you've been seeing on a regular basis in ring right there, interacting with you and many others. It's not, not just Don Kincaid and not just Joey, doing their thing and interacting in those close environments. And then you go to AEW and you don't know what to expect on. Well, you kind of do nowadays because they do put out their card, if you will, their graphics. But if you don't catch those, you kind of don't know what to expect when you go to these bigger shows nowadays. So when these dark matches come out and you see the people that you've maybe had multiple signs ripped, they have ripped said signs or what have you, or some type of interactions, you're like, son of a bitch, man, all of these memories just kind of flow through you as you see them start to rise up to a different plateau. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, man. And it just, when I see people I've watched on the indies like make it to like the big time, I'm like, it's like, it's bittersweet because I'm so happy for them. to do what they wanted to do and make a living with what they're doing. But then at the same time, it hurts because I also know I'm not going to see them regularly at the indie shows, man. And that's why I know there are guys that I'm very attached to on the indie scene right now that I know, and I don't want to mention names because I don't want to exclude somebody from another favorite of mine and another favorite. Well, I'm just going to keep it to the imagination. But there's so many favorites of mine that I know. There's so many favorites I've seen on the indies that I know are going to make it to the WWE and AEW, and it's break my heart. I may not break my heart. I'll be so happy for them and so proud for them. It's just going to be bittersweet because, as I said, while they're going to get to do what they want to do live in front of like 50,000 people, we're not going to get to see them anymore in like the Columbia Club or the TOS Dojo or the NEW Arena or Richfield Park, New Jersey at the Knights of Columbus. So,
there's one guy I just kind of want to do the old. Usually my euphemism, if you will, is pull a little Jenga piece out because there's so many to pick from, and there's so many promotions, so many talents, and so many that you could speak of. But I want to pull one out because I know you're a regular at NEW.
Yeah,
and you still go there regularly, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
You still regularly go to NEW. I got love for all the indie promotions. It's like I don't like favoriting like one promotion after the other. So I love them all. I have the special feel with each one because each has simple memories for
me. No. Well, I feel the same, but that kind of is not. That's not where I was going. But
okay, my bad. Sorry.
No, that's okay. But I feel exactly the same way. That's why when you name promotions or you name towns, like just like you said earlier, I don't want to forget anybody because I'll feel stupid about it, like I'll be like, oh shit, I should have said blah blah blah. So no, I feel you there. But where I was going with that is, if you do still go there regularly, their storylines, and I know you are specifically Keith Youngblood has a place right here, and what you've seen him pre King COVID, King COVID, you shit. Never mind. But pre King COVID, Keith Youngblood, there were some chairs. We were speaking about this on the previous Joey G STP. There was a thing where there were chairs involved, and Danny Moff is a champion, and shit's going wild. And we think Keith Youngblood has got this big heavyweight championship for the NEW championship there. We think he's right on the cusp of getting that because we've seen him right there a couple times. COVID happens. It kind of gets to the wayside. NEW comes back. Keith Youngblood doesn't really get back into that heavyweight or that NEW championship rank, that mix, if you will. So Keith Youngblood, I'm bringing all of this up because I know he's a favorite of yours. Keith Youngblood, what the hell is going on over in NEW? We need us some Keith Youngblood in that heavyweight championship mix.
All right, so Keith Youngblood is not the same Keith Youngblood as he was prior to pre-COVID. He's actually not the same Keith Youngblood as he was after. I mean, since he showed up on Stirring the Pot, and I interviewed him on Sign Rip Podcast with Joey G. So last time we saw Keith Youngblood, he came back last June, and he came back with all the momentum in the world, taking the Northeast Wrestling Live Championship from Big Bacon Brad Hollister. So he took their secondary. So he won some gold on his return. The thing was, so he was a defending NEW Live champion. He got his rematch in Danbury against Dan Moff. Unfortunately, he didn't win in the rematch. And what I feel started the downfall of Keith Youngblood is after he lost his rematch in his hometown, he defended the NEW Live Championship against Mike Berna back at the NEW Arena, and then he lost that title. And then out of nowhere, we were still chanting at me, Billy, we're like, we still love you, and we're getting loud. Next thing I know, he knocks out the referee, and his expression just goes dark. Like, we don't know what happened. and now he's going all over the social medias talking about he's lost his soul.
The face. I see that, and that's why I bring this up. The face. There's skeletons. There's pieces missing, and I don't know what the hell's going on over there.
He's rocking the black dark eyeliner now. He's got a black bandana, black leather pants. He's showing up to no longer coming out to Poison's Nothing But a Good Time. He's coming out now to Sober's Tool, or Tool Sober. It's crazy. It's a completely different Keith Youngblood, and I love it. So he's definitely something's up there. He's definitely like, I feel like he's on massive autopilot. Like he comes to the ring, destroys. Like the last two people he's faced off against, he's literally. It's almost like he's become like a unlicensed chiropractor. Shout out to my man Landon Hale. I love Landon, but it's like he almost like back as an unlicensed chiropractor because he literally almost rearranged Brett Ryan Gosling's spine, and Jay Haru left with probably needing to take a bath in icy hot.
Oh, wow. I'll have to ask Mr. Haru. We have him at the end of August coming up on STP. I'll have to ask him how his whacked back is feeling. Yeah, definitely. So Keith Youngblood has lost his ever damn loving mind. Pretty much is what's going on with Mr. Youngblood.
Pretty much. He's now the lost soul Keith Youngblood. So it's
okay.
Easy. So
wow. Well, thank you for filling me in. I do appreciate that because I was always a big AR fan, and Daniel Evans, if you haven't noticed, he made his return back to wrestling. He was on a hiatus for a while, and he made his return at. Oddly enough, it kind of surprised me. We were at PPW. I was like, holy shit, it's Daniel Evans. He's seen me coming out the curtain. I seen him coming out the curtain. We were like, holy shit, it's you. So, yeah, thank you for the update because I've always been a fan of both of them. And Keith Youngblood seems to have lost his mind over there at NEW.
And it's funny, I got a little update on Daniel Evans, too, because he has made he's had a few cups of tea back in NEW as well. So. All right, so it's funny because at the Danbury show that me and Billy and Mike and Simon were at back in April, he was actually hanging out in the lobby, which was pretty cool. And we were just discussing stuff. And the one polar opposite between me and Daniel Evans that I realized is we're both huge baseball fans, but he's a Mets fan and I'm a Yankees fan. So it is what it is. You know, I don't hate the Mets, but the funniest part about it is he came back to wrestle, I think, back in I think it was June at NEW. He had a surprise return match in NEW. And right off the bat, he was getting booed all over again because I'm trying to think. I think
he was with the court there.
Yeah, he used to be with the court now.
Right.
Funny, I used to call him the Duke of Dangerous Constipation. But I'm trying to remember who he faced. I think he took on I think he teamed up against Miracle Gen actually. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
Because my mind's a little flip-floppy right now, but he did take on I do think it's Miracle. No, they took on Battle Academy. That's what he did. He took on Hunter Tarka. I hope I said that correctly. And Chris Battle, and him and Ray Jazz took them on. Another name we've seen at TOS, Ray Jazz, for a few times. They lost, and after the match, Jazz beat up the Duke of Danger, and or Daniel Evans. I don't know what to call him anymore. And then the following month, they had a one-on-one bout. Unfortunately, Ray Jazz beat the Duke again with interference by Antonio Zambrano. So
yes. I think he just is going by Dangerous Daniel Evans again because. Now, mistake me if I'm wrong, and this is coming full circle to why I actually started this conversation. Danny Moff, the current reigning defending NEW champion, put up on his old face page, he is the greatest, most dominant world champion in Northeast wrestling history at 925 days of dominance.
Ooh, he's been a dominant champion. I'll give him that. You know, the funniest part about it was at the beginning, I really didn't want to count all those days due to COVID. And, you know,
I get it.
Kind of technical like that. I'm sorry. But then at the same time, when he came back roaring out the gate, he's been beating everybody, man. There's been so many, he's beaten everybody. So I can't take that away from him. You know, it would have been weird if I mean, I would have taken it away if he held it for that long, then he lost it in his return. But like he's been going through everybody from Wrecking Ball to Man Scout to JT Dunn to Big Bacon to Vincent to Flip Gordon to Gio Galvano to Jesus, I lost track, to Brian Anthony to Richard Holiday. He's steamrolling through everybody, you know. So he's definitely creeping up there. He might actually surpass Brian Anthony at the rate he's going, who's got the longest NEW championship reign. So,
do you know how many days for Mr. Anthony?
as Vito has said so many times, 1,052 days.
Oh wow, Mr. Moff is right around the corner, dude. Wow. Recently did not Brian Anthony with that damn what does Foggy call him? Mr. Bean? Brian Anthony and Mr. Bean did not Brian Anthony just have a heavy a championship, an NEW championship match against Danny Moff, and not only that, didn't Mr. Bean turn on Brian Anthony?
He did. It was the heel turn. He really completely, dude. It threw me completely off. Like we're sitting there in the front row. And here's the thing: me and Billy the whole time, we had our eyes on Wrecking Ball, who was in Moff's corner, because we thought. And look, the writing on the wall. You see Wrecking Ball in the corner. Vito's offering to give Wrecking Ball a shot if he helps. You know, if Brian Anthony wins. So we're thinking Wrecking Ball's going to turn. That's the truth. We thought he was going to sell out. Next thing you know, you got big Adam Kerr flying through the curtain, taking Wrecking Ball out. So that eliminated that from the equation.
Wow.
Brian Anthony climbs up on the top rope to deliver that flying elbow drop of his. And as much as I've ripped on him in the past, calling him a Burger King and stuff, and and everything, and the epitome of Nickelodeon slime, he's got a nice elbow drop. So I thought he was going to win. I really thought he was going to win. He climbed up there 3 times. Vito gives him the chain. So I'm thinking it's going to be a fly elbow drop with the chain. Next thing I know, Vito grabs his leg, and I got confused. I was like, I thought he slipped at first. That was the thing. I thought Brian Anthony slipped. I was like, oh, he's trying to make sure he doesn't slip. Next thing I know, Vito pushes him off the rope. My mouth goes... And I look at Billy. I'm like, did you just see that? And next thing I know, I turn back, and there's Brian Anthony going flying through a table that was propped up on the turnbuckle from Dan Moff. 1, 2, 3. Moff retains, and then he hugs Vito, which I don't know why he wanted to do that. If I was Moff, I'd probably like burn that entire like clothing afterwards. It's Vito's time, dude. So,
he is. He's fine. You are right.
But that us off completely, man. And so yeah, I've never cheered for Brian Anthony though either since I've been going to NEW, so I don't know what to expect right now.
I have in the past when I was a reg at NEW, because he's had a couple, switcheroos here and there throughout his career, because if you notice, Brian Anthony is a mainstay period at NEW. So he's mixed it up a bit over there, and we've cheered, we've booed, we've hated, we've loved, we've all sorts of stuff. We've sang, I believe, happy birthday, and it was Kate's and all sorts of stuff. And we've done holidays with Mr. Anthony. I mean, there's been a history, but I have not gone. Now, boys and girls, we probably talked NEW about maybe 15-ish minutes or so. I'm just going out on a limb on that time frame. But I haven't been there in a while. And look at what happened right now. We just live vicariously through our good friend, Joey G, who goes to some of these promotions regularly. I asked him about a couple of his favorite talents and maybe not so favorite talents. And he gave us some information. We got to catch up a little bit of what's going on Northeast Wrestling. And we live vicariously through him, through what's going on over there. So I appreciate, again, your passion and sharing because I was lost, dude, with Keith Youngblood. I really was. Like, what the F? is going on around here.
Yeah, that's what's going on with him now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate all of that. Now, I know on the Sign Rip podcast, you do you're more interactive with the questions that the fans put on the old face page or the Twitter or your Pornhub or whatever you got going on over there.
You could call it only signs, actually. where I for a small price you could watch me make my signs for the show, maybe or maybe not clothed. Not gonna get you canceled for that, am I? It was just a joke.
Nah. With some of the shit I've said on here, absolutely not. I actually want to go to the old face page, and when I put up the graphic of Joey G coming up on SCP today, it's a fine picture with your Goomba there, Ryan Frost.
I love Frosty, man. He's my boy. I love him to death.
We are absolutely going to be spinning back to that before we let you go on one Ryan Frost. That's for damn sure.
Of course.
I want to just kind of roll down a little bit on some of the comments, if I may. Is that all right?
Knock yourself out, man. You know how many times I've asked questions on my podcast, so let's go. I'm actually excited for this because I never get to be asked any questions. I always do the question asking, so.
Okay, and I didn't ask nobody to say a damn thing. You know me. I don't even ask any of that stuff. They were just kind of chit-chatting on the graphic. So I'll just kind of go down the line. And they're not all questions, all right? Karen Gregoire.
I love Karen. I love Karen. I love Josh. She's such a sweet woman. What's funny is I didn't really know her because I saw her popping up on all of your guys' pages, and I love her so much to death. So I randomly friend requested her. I'm like, because she's friends with the rest of the wrestling fam, and I'm just like, I hope she's not weirded out that I randomly friended this random guy with a Frost Force T-shirt. Just sends her a random friend request, and luckily that wasn't the case because going back to the Invictus TOS crossover show, United We Fight. That's when I finally got to introduce myself to her, and I love her so much. She's such a sweet woman. She's so nice. I got so many good things to say about her, and the homie Josh. I call him the hugging bodyguard because I see all the karate videos on him, and I expect to be like Cobra Kai, and then she's telling me, well, Josh would more likely hug his attacker than Karate Kid his attacker.
You know, it was the same thing because I will just echo exactly what you said for both of them because. You know, you see Josh on his page just joshing around, and he's karate chopping shit. He's elbowing stuff. He's kicking stuff. He's messing shit up over there. And boys and girls, if you don't know of Josh Gregoire, he has Down syndrome. He was born with it, and you know he's grown up to be a fine adult male over here. I mean. Without obviously Karen's help and trying to guide him through his life, I mean, I'm sure he would be lost. And I'm sure right now she would be lost without him because them two are a duo and a half. But I want to just echo what Joey was saying about Josh because you see him doing all of this stuff. PAPW, we stand up inside the facility. It's a small, it's like a small warehouse kind of looking thing, you know.
And I have been to one. So
holds about 60. Oh, okay. Holds about 60, maybe 70 chairs or so. I may be guessing off there. I'm not sure. But they always do two things right off the bat, no matter what. First thing is they bring out their referees. Usually there's three. They call them the Zebras of Justice. If Q is in there, I give him an evil eye. He gives me a middle finger. That's what we do. They come up. They introduce the Zebras of Justice with music. You never see that at any other company. I've never seen that. And then we do the not the Pledge of Allegiance. They play the national anthem. Well, we stand up for the national anthem, and Josh would not let Karen sit next to me. He wanted it to be Josh, me, Cindy, Karen. He was very adamant about that lineup. Now we stand up for the national anthem. Josh is leaned up on me. His hand is wrapped around me. He's rubbing me. He's doing this on my shoulder. I look over at him like side eye, and he's like, he's smooching me and shit. And Cindy sees this, and she's trying not to laugh because, again, the national anthem is going on here, boys and girls. And I know it's probably a little bit longer story than, and I'll get back to what we were talking about. But Cindy nudges Karen. Karen looks over at what's going on, and she goes, "Stop it." Like she's trying to get him to chill out. Josh is over here going like this, and he's still all loving on me and stuff. That kid is nothing but a bundle of human love. That's all that kid wants to do.
Yeah, I've seen that with him, and I'm kind of jealous. I never got to actually experience the Josh Hunt, man. You know, I've seen multiple people get to experience it. I'm kind of jealous, man. Josh, come on, man. You're my homie. I want to experience the Josh hug, man. Hug me, brother.
Hug me, brother. Woo.
Yeah.
Karen Gregoire, she says, I'm sorry, but I just absolutely love that brought me with Josh, that brought me right to that one moment. That memory, those memories that we bring home with us, my man.
And I know you're going to say this. My favorite Josh moment, by the way, is the second ever 2TW show when he ran up to Bull Dread during the entrance, and he did the whole the Rick Rude thing, and I love that so much. And he hugged Bull Dread, and that was like, oh, that is freaking awesome, dude. You know, SWP. So,
oh man, so many, because now Bull Dread is one of his absolute faves. So. I'll just paint it real quick. He's standing up. The curtain is over here where I'm going to take the curtain and go this way where you can't see it, but Josh is standing here. And he's looking dead at the curtain, waiting for the beast to come through that curtain. And not only that, he's wearing his T-shirt. And here comes the beast through the curtain. Josh is swiveling the hips. He's got the lips going. He's got this whole thing going on, looking right at Bull Dread in the eyes. I mean, he's not looking down at the ground. He's looking at this man right in his eyes. And you do know that Bull Dread cannot do anything but magnetize himself right over there and give Joshy a big ass hug, man. I mean, how can you not? Holy shit. Oh God. We could talk Joshy all night.
I know that's making my mouth light up right now with smiles, bro. That's awesome. I love it.
Oh my God, we could definitely talk Josh and holy shit sticks. Karen Gregoire, she says, "Woo!" exclamation, "Woo! Woo!" exclamation. He's one of my favorite fans with a bunch of partying going on after there with the emojis. So you were talking about how nice of a woman that she was. Feels reciprocated, my friend.
Oh, she's amazing. Karen's such an awesome woman. You know, I love her to death. And as I said, I love all the wrestling fam. She's just as amazing. I'm so that's why I love this wrestling fam so much, because they're so nice to each other. They're so welcoming to each other, and it's just so awesome. Her and Josh are freaking amazing. I got nothing but awesome things to say. She was what I really loved about Karen, she was one of the I know when I went into the hospital 2 months ago, she was one of the first people to reach out to me, I believe. I mean, my inbox was flooded, but I got a lot of talk. We and her talked a lot, I believe, during that time. So, and it really, really, really meant a lot to me. And so I try to put the emotional stuff to the side when I go to shows to have a really good time. At the last Tough and Talented show, when I was buying a 2TW shirt, to benefit Vincenzo's dad, she asked me when I got it, she's like, "It's great to see you. How you doing?" I'm like, "I'm good." You're like, "You doing better, honey?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Can you give me a hug right now?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." So that'll always light my smile up, And it
Absolutely.
really means a lot. And she's a great woman. Josh is awesome. I always call him the homie Josh. I call everybody the homie. Insert name here. It's just easier that way. I feel like that's the respectful way to say it. If
that moves us down to you already mentioned Vincenzo. I'm going to go to Vincenzo Sr. before we bring this next guy up. Now, Vincenzo Sr., he just threw a picture of himself and Frosty at the benefit for Vincenzo going through some cancer issues. We raised a bunch of money. It was a grand time. A lot of amazing people gathered together. There was raffles and there was a bunch of merch and there was a lot of stuff donated to what Vincenzo's going through for his medical bills. So he threw up a picture of himself and Frost. And wait a minute, is there somebody else in there? Oh no, okay, never mind. It's Frosty and Vincenzo Sr. Then he puts up it's a picture of himself and me. I think that's really one of the the very first picture we ever taken together. But he was super stoked to reiterate some of the words that the owner, proprietor, Booker, his son, Vincenzo Jr., were putting out about a Hall of Fame that he was presenting in 2023. So he was just kind of reiterating some of that real quick. And I love me some Vinny Sr. Vinny Jr. That brings us to Vinny Jr. And it goes like this. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's 5. Boo! With five exclamation points. I just had to laugh, and it looks like 3 other people, and probably including yourself, laughed. Talk to us about one Vincenzo Jr., please.
Oh, I love Vincenzo. Vincenzo's amazing. You know, I'm glad he began tough and talented. I love the fact that he's been so passionate about this. I consider him a big part of the wrestling fam. I love him to death. He's been so cool with me. We talk a lot about wrestling. Dude, he makes some of the long days at Ace Endico. That's life. Very, very tolerable. Because I'll sit there on like during the dead hours. It's not that I don't slack off through work, by the way. As I've been messed with by a few guys. But you know, Sammy Diaz. No, I love Sammy. He's messed with me in the past. But we'll sit there and we'll just be talking wrestling all day. We'll be talking about this and that, and I'll give him ideas on what would be dope for like a 2TW show and this and that. And it's just like, you know, I don't want to like give too much away, but like we really have, me and him share like almost the same mindset when it comes to wrestling. Like that's all we can talk about, and we enjoy it so much.
Vinny Jr., big dude with a big heart. Gotta give him that for sure.
Now his evil twin Bruno. Oh,
F Bruno. Hey, maybe we should just entitle this one F Bruno. EFF Bruno. Yeah,
I dig it. Yes.
Okay.
Bruno is such a jerk, man. Like, like first off, this is the first guy I've ever seen that decides to randomly out of nowhere show up at shows. I mean, not the first guy, but he makes it his like passion to literally make my signs into confetti. Did you see that second 2TW show, Don? The entire front row literally looked like a sign graveyard.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely did. That's why the title of this episode, F Bruno.
And it literally looked like like we weren't even into the first match yet, and already half the floor was covered with my ripped signs. It was crazy. But he's such a jerk, Bruno. He just sits there, he runs his mouth, he's like showing up, stealing my Clipper Jones sign. Man, why'd you gotta mess with my boy Clipper Jones, man? I love Clipper. That's my boy since day one on the farm. He's sitting there ripping up my Clipper Jones signs. He's sitting in my lap during the Battle Royal. Like, man, Bruno's a heavy mother. He's so heavy.
Yeah, he's a big dude. Definitely a big dude.
He's hacking Vincenzo's Facebook page, running his mouth. It's like, man, I want to kick him in the meatballs. I swear to God.
Yeah. Joey G. Bruno, stop hacking Vincenzo's page, you jackass. Me. F. Bruno. Vincenzo. Yo, every time I don't get it. Joey G. Next time I see him, he's getting kicked in the meatballs, that jackass Bruno. Me. Stop making your password F Bruno. Me. Joey G. That escalated very quickly. Vincenzo, right? I got to figure something out. That was the subcontext of Vincenzo Jr. Right in the meatballs.
Yeah.
Now, that moves us on to somebody. That moves us on to somebody. One, Ty Shine, the best brows in the business today. He's on a hiatus. If you notice what he did today, he's on a hiatus. He's not those other two words. I don't want to repeat those because he may come after me and DDT my ass. So Mr. Ty Shine is on a hiatus. So hopefully we will see return because my goodness, if there's something that I love to see in the ring is me some Ty Shine. What he brings to the table is in his own way is nobody duplicates it. I'm telling you. Can I submit a question? This is Ty Shine now. Can I submit a question?
By all means, Don.
Why is Joe Gramont so scared of the best bowler / on hiatus best brows and wrestling / Ty Shine? So, Ty Shine, Joey G, boys and girls, they've had this thing. We've spoken about it before. There was going to be a big buildup. I was going to record the whole thing. We're still trying to get that all worked out. We've been trying to get that worked out. And there's been some words on the face page mainly that I've seen. And it's been going back and forth. And there's been feathers of flying because there's been a lot of ducking. Joey G, please take over and address one Ty Shine.
So what's really funny about this, and I feel like the buildup is like Rock versus Cena at WrestleMania in 2012. It's just so funny how it all started, and it started off with all I did was like post about Cortland lanes in my town. They used to do moonlight bowling till midnight. And in case anybody of you who don't know, don't bowl, moonlight bowling is when they turn all the lights off in the bowling alley and you got the strobe lights all over playing. You got the music blasting through the stereos. You get to bowl for fun. You get a redhead colored pin. You can win a free game and all that other nonsense.
Oh, cool.
It's generally just a good time for Saturday nights, in Cortland Lanes for like $20. You get to bowl all you want. I'm sitting there just talking about the memories of how good it was. And I guess because of COVID, they changed their times from midnight to 9 p.m., which kind of bummed me because I always like Cortland Lanes so much. And then next thing I know, this clown Ty just starts running his mouth about how he could beat me in bowling on there. So and I'm like, bro, let's go then. Like I'm down to go, let's bowl. And then we're just going back and forth on Facebook. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, this guy can't be serious. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, why don't you put your money where your mouth is, man? I've actually won a bowling championship with my team in 2018. It is a true story. Me and my team finished first place back in 2018 at Cortland Lanes on Monday nights. We finished first place, which is true. And I started kind of trying to ruffle how to win a championship. Lost me again?
Oh wait, there it is. It was muffled up. Something happened there. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I should get closer to the mic. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, you don't have to get closer. No, it's fine.
Last time we saw you, Ty Shine, you lost at TOS, which shows that you don't know how to win a championship. Meanwhile, I've known how to win a bowling first place, I guess, championship or something. And that's why I cut a promo. Thinking he was going to be at the next TOS show, and then he wasn't there. So that started the whole Ty is ducking me thing, which to this day, I don't know why he's going quack, 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 because I don't see him anywhere. I think of quack, quack, quack. I immediately think of my niece Dakota, like singing the Five Little Ducks song. but so all throughout the year, we've been going at it on Facebook, and I want to make this happen. I'd like to have a buddy of mine maybe in my corner with you recording, a certain buddy maybe, so that would be pretty cool. But this guy, he's running his mouth all year, and then I think everything's starting to quiet down. Next thing I know, out of nowhere, he's just like, why are you ducking me? And I'm like, why am I ducking you? Why are you ducking me? I've been accepting your challenge all year, bro. Mr. freaking two-hander. Come on. If you can run your mouth on social media, bring your bowling ball and let's go. I thought we were going to have this done in April. So it's really ironic, I still want to do this, And then he showed me his list of credentials, and I'm like, for a guy who's bowled a bunch of 300 games, he still hasn't bowled against me yet.
No. So it's been the game of ducking. Joey G says Ty Shine's ducking him, and Ty Shine says Joey G is ducking him. So, like I said, to start this segment off, there's been a lot of feathers flying around, and I don't know what the hell to make of all of it because I'm just waiting for it to clear a little bit, the feathers to clear and die down, and I want to see these two guys on the lane so bad. I've never wanted anything like this in so long. I mean, this buildup is killing me.
You think it's killing you? It's killing me because I want to go at it with him right now at this point. I think I remember a while back, GM I don't know if he got nervous or something, but he was sitting there on Facebook. He's like, "What? Wait, what are these two talking about? Why does Joe keep calling out Ty Shine?" And then you mentioned it was over bowling, and I think GM instantly started laughing hysterically. I'm like, I'll say it again, Vinny. Come on, man. 2TW, Columbia Club. There's a bowling alley downstairs. Let's go. Book Ty Shine for a show so we can get this done and over with, man. And then afterwards we could shake hands like men and say who was the better bowler right now. We all know it's me. But the point is, I've wanted this for a year now. I'm ready to go, man.
Yeah. This has been too long in the making. That's for sure. Talk about what did they say? Long storytelling, extended storytelling.
Paul's just sitting there in the corner collecting dust right now, man. Like, come on, man. I don't bowl during the summer. I like to enjoy it.
Did you say ball or balls?
Ball.
Oh, okay.
I only own one bowling ball. I used to own 3, but I sold one of them. So I didn't sell it. It was crap. So
I would just had to ask. I could have taken a crazy turn right there. You didn't just
let's go. Come on, man. It's been a year in the making. This is the year build-up. Come on, let's have our WrestleMania. We could call it Bowlamania.
Yeah, let's finish this shit off. Yeah, let's finalize. Let's put the stamp on this sumbitch. Could we please?
And let's figure out a date. Let's do this. Any bowling alley like within distance for both of us. I want to make it. I may be cocky and arrogant with my bowling. I'm not completely heartless.
All right.
He's a good bowler too, by the way. I'll give him that on his side.
Yeah. So, boys and girls, me personally, again, because I've been kind of in the middle of all of this madness, I'm very excited. I wish this thing would come to a close so we can put a cap on this biatch. Ty Shine, step up. Come on. I mean, I'm wearing your merch. I mean, come on. Let's do some stuff. Let's go.
Come on, man. From one fellow Yankee fan to another, Ty, and I know you're a Yankee fan too, so come on. We got some common ground here, bro.
Yeah, common ground. Yeah, at least a gentleman's handshake before you start. I mean, let's get the feathers down to a minimum here. Now we move on to, which I didn't expect coming. Well, okay, maybe I did. One Rad Dad. I popped when I saw his comment pop up. One Rad Dad. Because you can digress on this, and I'm just going to go. I'll go through the sub text, if you will, as well. One Rad Dad says, one half of the stepdads. I got to know what belt design. I got to know what belt design Joey G would have, and what gimmick would it be defended under. Okay, that's the question, and then there's subtext. Joey G. Sounds familiar. Me, the peeps need to know. Terry Duffy Jr. That's gimmick infringement. But since you're my stepdad, I will let it go. Take the floor, my friend.
Okay, so for those who don't know, I do have also a podcast called the Sign Rip Podcast with Joey G. I think we've mentioned that a few times tonight.
Couple to three.
The recurring joke within the question and answer part of my podcast is that Terry asks the same question on literally almost every single episode, to the point that Don Kincaid actually made a little photo gif of it, and asking the same question about making a championship. What kind of what custom title would I like, and what match would defend it in, and you know. So I like the idea of custom title. Man, I feel weird being asked this question, and I'm gonna ask this, man, because okay. So getting straight to the point, back in the Attitude Era, I loved Stone Cold Steve Austin's Smoking Skull Championship to the point that I begged and begged and begged and begged and begged my grandma to buy me a replica at Toys R Us back in the day, you know? Mm-hmm. And then finally she bought me a replica of the Smoking Skull belt. I was so excited. I loved it. I wore that thing freaking everywhere. And I always liked the idea of a custom championship, and I like custom titles. So I would call it the Taco Bell Championship. No, I'm kidding. That was. I would honestly, what I think would be dope about it would be I would have it decked out in like Yankees pinstripes, with Yankees pinstripes. You know, I'd have like a little Taco Bell logo on like one of the, you know, little side plates. Then you'd have like you know, a wrestling thing on one of the side plates. I'd have like, you know, I'd have a Yankees logo on another side plate. I would just, I guess, you know, maybe have an image of my niece Dakota on the fourth side plate. You know, I think that would be a neat looking design. I would call it. I mean, I don't know what I'd call it, man. I don't want to make it a spinner title, so I kind of like it in the design of like the classic Intercontinental Championship. That was like my all-time favorite championship, so I'd like it kind of in that design, like the classic IC title. What match would I defend it in? See, I was always a fan of the 24/7 rule back in the day, of the Attitude Era. So I kind of liked it. I thought it offered great excitement. You know, actually, what's a funny story, when I was younger, me and a lot of my friends, we used to take that Smoking Skull title. We pretended it was a Smoking Skull title. I swore we like pinned each other like 1,000 times in random spots in high school. So yeah, I think I would defend it 24/7 style, like the hardcore title, except you'd have to have. Okay, I'll make an exception to the rule. You have to have a man, because it's pinstripes. You have to have a man with a Yankees jersey count the pin or submission.
Oh,
pinstripe championship. There we go.
A caveat, if you will, with the pinstripes.
There you go.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Interesting.
Terry, shout out to you. I love that question every time on the podcast. I'll never get tired of answering. That's my shout out to Terry.
We may have to update said question with Terry's picture. It's been a minute, right?
Yeah, man. That same photo like 2 years ago with him and holding AW. I think it was an AW replica title, or is it NWA replica title? I'm not sure.
We're definitely going to have to update something for Terry Duffy and Joey G. And let me just take a second here, because Terry Duffy Jr. has taken on his creative side and brought it to the table with the Frost Force Stepdad Squad, Insanely Rude section. And he's been making some really cool creative stuff and bringing it to the table. Now, you bring the signs, usually it's more of a solo endeavor. Maybe your friends that come with you don't feel maybe as outgoing, because I notice 9 out of 10 times, maybe 10 out of 10 times, if there's a chant coming from that section, it's you starting that chant. So it seems that your friends may be a tad more reserved than Joey. He's there to put it out there, and I don't give a crap. Let's do this. Let's go. So you bring in the signs, and mostly, not the rest of the guys bringing them, having Terry jump on board with a little bit of creativity and taking some time and putting some effort and doing what he's doing. Isn't that fun AF, my friend?
Of course, man. And funny fact, it was actually Terry Duffy that coined the name the Sign Father to me. So that's why I took over the mantle, because originally my Instagram, my Twitter just had like NEW Sign Guy, But because I was going to more shows than just NEW, I decided I can't just call myself NEW sign guy when I'm going to all these shows now. So I changed my name to the Sign Father from the whole perfect persona of the Godfather. Like, I'm gonna give him a sign they'll never forget. But I give Terry Duffy props for that. I give him full credit for coining that nickname, and I love Terry Duffy's signs. I'm actually jealous because his got a lot more detail than mine, and it's not a knock on him. I love his signs to death. He puts so much color, so much work. I'll be the first to admit he puts so much design into his signs. You know, I sometimes I'll if I really want to put the time in for a good sign, I'll do it. But a lot of the time, because of how exhausted I get from work, I just rush. I don't want to say I rush signs. I usually put stuff. I just jot something down to insult the wrestlers, like "Dan, you suck," or "The Mission is a cult," or "Mission is just the Book of Danos is just brainwashing for dummies." As you could tell, the whole thing of hatred for the Mission. But I give him props because he makes a lot of nice signs. So I usually think his signs will stay intact. He doesn't get so lucky sometimes either. I've seen some of his get ripped too. So, and for the record, yes, I do. Mostly it is me bringing signs. There have been times Backward Blippy does bring signs. Simon always brings signs. The only thing is with Simon's job, it's harder for him to take off for shows. So, but when he is there, he does have his signs. So, and Billy does from time to time bring signs. Terry's always rocking out the signs. When I can get Kelsey, when Kelsey comes to shows, she's always rocking out signs now. So it's a thing. Like, it's catching on, and I love it. Signs everywhere. I love it. I love seeing the signs, and I feel like it's a trend that's growing back on indie wrestling scene because I'm starting to see more and more signs show up at like Test of Strength, at Invictus, at Tough and Talented, at NEW. I'm just naming shows off the top of my head, and it's so awesome to see the signs everywhere because it brings me back to that time. It's so weird. I didn't realize it, but back at Invictus, apparently I inspired this one special needs child kid to start bringing his own signs to Invictus. Aww. And I didn't realize that, and that warmed my heart so much to hear that. And then at one of the last Invictus shows, I think his name is John Polini or something. He comes up to me during the show. I'm like, "What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?" He's like, "You're the guy with the Sign Rip podcast, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. I love that you bring signs all the time." Like, "Yeah, man. I also love that they get ripped up." I'm like, "Thanks, buddy." He's like, and this is what really brought me like warmed my heart. He's like, "Could you do me a favor?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's up? Can you sign my Invictus poster?" I'm like, "You want me to sign your poster, buddy? Oh my God, you're gonna make me cry." Oh my God. I'm like, "Yes, you got a marker." And I did. "Where do you want me to sign?" "On the logo." "That's cool." He gives me a quick fist bump, and I'm like, "You're the man. You just made my day, brother. Thank you."
Yeah, that is so awesome.
Oh man, I'm almost tearing up hearing about it. So
yeah. These are the things though that, how do I put, when fans take on, not per se, I guess a different persona, we'll just have to say, because they see the people that see us go to the shows. Yes, we're fans, but they see that we're a little bit different. You do your thing, I do my thing, Greg does his thing, in his area, and we have these little niches, if you will. And I give you a perfect example. Bob Thorpe hasn't been in wrestling in 22 years. He goes to a Battlefront show, and he sees me doing my thing. Now, I always sit when the entranceway is this way, all right? But I would be sitting on this side, and the ring would be in front of me. The entrance comes down. I usually sit on this corner. Bob Thorpe happened to be sitting on this corner on the opposite side of the entranceway here. And he was around me that whole night. And halfway through, he came up to me. He goes, "I still can't figure out what the fuck is going on. Are you part of this show? Are you gonna die because you're fucking with these big guys?" And he goes, "I just don't know. I'm scared for you half the time on what you're doing." He goes, "Who are you? What's going on? Are you part of the..." He threw like 30 questions at me in about a 30-second span. My God, Joey G. I was like, I couldn't stop laughing. I go, I fucking love you, and I don't even know you.
What's funny is that when I first saw you at TOS shows, I actually thought you and Alec Price had legitimate hatred for each other, or he had because he's showing up, he's like running right into your face during his entrance. You know, he's getting all like in your face, and I'm almost confused. And then I remember at that one show last April, I thought him and HD3 were literally trying to run you over with their Jeep. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh my god!
A fucking Jeep, yes. Like,
Yeah.
like vehicular manslaughter, yes.
I was like, oh my god, does he really hate like Don? Like, what the hell, dude? And at that time, I didn't really know a lot about you at that time, so it was you know. So now I understand a little bit better what's going on, somewhat. So,
But this brings me back to my point. Really, is when you start going to the shows, it's not like you're sought out to a 3 or 4 year plan. I'm going to be the sign father, and I'm going to be going to X promotions, and I'm going to be friends with, I would have never thought in a million fucking years with, like, you know, a couple hundred wrestlers or whatever is going on, you know? So these things, and like I was speaking with Greg last night, they just happen organically. The wrestlers see what you're doing. It's a little bit extra than what most are doing. They latch on to that. They utilize that with that fan wrestler dance that we do. And if it continues, like, you come back to these X promotions and follow these storylines as the signs follow the storylines, and they see these things, that is this thing that just kind of happens organically with what you're doing and what they're doing. And dude, there's no sport, and I said this last night, there's no sport in any universe, maybe even any meta universe, that I think that fans can really do what we do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Uh-oh.
do a toughened up. Here we go again. Sorry.
No, we're good. We're good. We're good.
I don't know what the heck's going on here. It's a little minor instance, but I love what we do at TOS. I love what we do at Tough and Talented. I love what I do at NEW. I love what I do at Invictus. You know, and it makes me want to keep coming back. It's sad because after the first PAVW show, like what bothers me is I see one show, I want to go to the next one and the next one and the next one, and it's unfortunately I can't make all the other promotions. Like I went to Creator Pro last year with Kelsey, and I wanted to go to the next one after because I want to know what's going to happen next. And it's like a TV show. Like you can't just watch one episode, binge watch on Netflix, and then miss the next one. It just becomes addicting. So I got to go to them all.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, we've been going for about an hour 10 or so. Do we have just a smidge more time with Joey G?
I ain't going nowhere, man. You could talk my ear off all night if you want. I know you got other things to do, but like I don't mind talking.
Excellent. We're here. We're hanging. We're hanging with Jackie G. And the picture that I shared, wearing the old Fleek merch, being ready for the Stir in the Pot with Joey G this evening. Since I did have the device out and I was kind of going through stuff, I saw there was a few comments, so I popped them up. And could I just go through 3 short comments?
Knock yourself out, man. Don't literally knock yourself out because I'll be talking to the wall. But go ahead.
Hey, I'm not even bringing up Dan the Man again. Never mind. Eric Hunting, friend Eric, brother Eric, love him to pieces. Jackie G from Connecticut.
That's all HD3's fault. I swear to God. Him and Jordan Rowe, the Snapple God, they both sit there and one point at time, they sit there and mistakenly think I'm from Connecticut because I go to all the shows in Connecticut. Guys, I wear a freaking Yankees cap from New York. I'm from New York. You know, where we have the greatest pizza in the world, where there's the New York Yankees. It's not the Hartford Yankees or the Danbury Mets, for crying out loud. I'm from New York, the big NY, you know, that spot where Frank Sinatra, you know, sang about where you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
Wow, looks like friend Eric triggered one Joey G. Okay.
I have post-traumatic etiquette disorder now.
Sister, dear in my heart, sister Laura C. Love her to pieces. She commented.
I love Violet.
This one, yes. Niece Violet VC. Oh my god. What? Oh my goodness. She is so damn cute. I did not see this one coming. Laura C. COVID Joe. Yeah, COVID Joe.
COVID Joe or
Yeah.
oh, COVID Joe. I don't know. That's different. Yeah.
How's Joey G feeling?
Joey G's feeling better. I'm 85% recovered. It bums me out because this is the second time COVID has caused me to miss a show, and it bums me out. So what's funny story is the only 2 shows I've missed because of COVID were both training days. I was supposed to go to the first training day of the year, and I couldn't go because I came down with COVID the first time. By the way, I'm feeling better on round 2. I'm recovering pretty quick, obviously, because if I wasn't, I wouldn't be on this right now. So I need some stuff to do anyway while I'm in quarantine. Until I'm good to go back to work. Hopefully, I'm good by Friday, so I can go to NEW this Saturday.
Nice.
I gotta see. I gotta double check, but I'm doing good. So yeah, I had it, and then I missed this Sunday's training day again because of COVID. So. I was bummed out because I actually, after going to the first 2 training days I attended, I want to go to them all.
I talk about the intimacy of that room, and I think this is episode 335. I'm almost certain this is 335 tonight. I have probably mentioned TOS Dojo and the intimacy of that room and 300, and again tonight 335 episodes. Talk to us, the fans, about the intimacy, and I have the talent speak about it and maybe the differences between a smaller intimate room like that, because it's really probably the smallest room that we've ever been to, and the venues that we do go to for wrestling, but compared to some of the other bigger venues and whatnot. But that TOS room, holy shit sticks, man, love it to pieces.
I will say this, and I say this with all the love in the world. That is literally the smallest venue I've been to ever for a show. Like, I actually feel like I could have that in my kitchen. I love Slick Wagner Brand, and you know how much I love TOS. So, and that's not a knock. It's literally, but I love the dojo, and I love the dojo because I feel like with Training Day, you could see anybody pop up at Training Day. Like, and it's not like just see it's not like with other promotions where you'd see maybe like you see like a big name show up at like the Mid Hudson Civic Center or something, but like it's so crazy to see, like, and I have very favorite memories of the dojo because that's where I picked this bad boy up for the first time ever, the Frosty shirt, and I love that. And I know we'll get to Frosty eventually because I got some really awesome words for him after this. But the dojo experience for me, Backwards Blippy and Michael Herdman, you call him the Terminator. That was fun, man. Like the first show we ever went to there was so awesome. That's where I technically met Laura for the first time, and because I saw her across Facebook, but we never really talked, So I was like, I don't, because my thing is I don't want to like add people unless we actually have a conversation at shows and get to know each other, because I feel weird doing that. Like that's why, like, and something you and Frosty touched on once, like not to go add people that like are related to the wrestlers because that's a little weird. Right. I mean, with the exception of Frost's mom, because Tracy Frost is a saint, I added her. Yeah. But what's funny is that first training day was so awesome. I had such a blast at training day. I get the intimate feeling. It's great to see so many people like Fogman, Laura, Terry Duffy, again, you, and everybody I'm seeing at the TOS shows, and it makes me it is a real intimate feeling. And I was always curious what it looked like at the dojo. So when I got there, I thought the dojo was a lot bigger when I got there. From seeing the videos, I'm like, oh man, this thing's huge. I'm seeing from the videos. Next thing I know, I get in there, I'm like, holy crap, this is small. you know, but it felt so compact, and it was crazy because you know, I enjoyed both shows, and I know you and Q aren't exactly the best. Q had me cracking up at those shows. I do give Q a lot of props for he handed me the K1 Classic Championship at the last training day I was at to hold on to during a match for Ichiban, which was really dope. I enjoyed that. So to be fair, I've never held one of those championships before, so that was really cool.
Oh wow, yeah, it
No,
is.
that's a lie. I held RJ and Zane's tag titles after they won them back in 2019 at NEW. So that's a lie.
Okay.
I made a mistake.
Okay.
But that was really cool getting to hold that title. And I got jealous of Michael Herdman because he got to hold the TOS championship. I'm like, and then Billy's sitting there, he's like, oh, I guess I'm gonna get to hold the TOS tag titles, right? And then he didn't get to hold it at all. I was like, what the But yeah, the intimate setting was so cool, and especially the last one I was at, getting to see RJ Rude, who I've seen all over the place. He's my boy. I love him too, and get to see him show up at training day, make his TOS debut. I love seeing the guys like show up at the other promotions. It's got like such an awesome feel. Like I like to see them spread their wings, and that's why I'd be lying if I didn't say that was my main drawing factor to get there. You know, I mean, I was gonna go anyway for the Frosty, for the stepdads, for Miracle Gen, for Ichiban, for SWB, and everybody else. But RJ was just an extra icing on the cake right there for me, man. You know, and that was so cool to see him, who I've seen at the Mid Hudson Civic Center and the NEW Arena in Richfield Park, New Jersey, and the Columbia Club. Now I'm getting to see him at the TOS Dojo, man. You know, and I made a joke to Billy the other day. He'd be like, "Well, he's like Billy's like, hey, Joe, I got a question real quick. If you were ever a famous wrestler on AEW, would you ever show up at little places like that?" I'm like, dude, absolutely. I would show up at if I was signed to WWE as a wrestler. I'm too old, by the way, but if I was ever signed as a wrestler, I'd make that shock appearance at the dojo just to completely throw everybody off, and like maybe call out somebody like, I don't know, TJ Howell or something because he loses. But no, the dojo. I love the dojo. TS Dojo is freaking amazing, and if you ever have the chance to go there, it's small. It doesn't have a lot of seating, but it's worth it. You know, it's fun. You'll have a blast. You know, it's great. It's got that big show atmosphere, regardless.
Absolutely, and it's only $10. I mean,
$10.
Come on.
How can you beat this, bro?
I know. I did save one Ryan Frost, you know, for the closing of this. I know we spoke of Dan the Man, and we could speak of the mission, and it would probably take up another hour, which I do not want to speak on for an hour, is said mission. And that is, again, taking on its own life over there with brother.
My stomach turn.
With Dan the Man, Brother Greatness, Evie De La Rosa, and this Patrick Saint is a gigantic pain in my ass. Oh my God.
He hates me more than Dan the Man, honestly. Honestly, that John.
Shit, that guy. F the mission. So let's kind of bring this down to a tail end here. And Ryan Frost, we've seen him before, and I was looking for something for, what the hell was it? I can't remember specifically. And Ryan Snow Cone came up, and I go, I don't even care if this is not a memory from a year ago. It was from last April, I want to say. I have to share this because of how the times have changed.
Well, have they ever, man?
Our guy, Ryan Frost, the infamous Ryan Frost. Now, I seen Ryan's debut when he came out at the dojo. I thought he was going to be a singles competitor in one of these multi-man scrambles or a battle royal or a young man rumble or whatever they call him over there. And I thought he was going to be in something like that, but no. He ends up coming out with Dirtbag Dan And Dirtbag Dan, I even have the footage. I believe it was either me or somebody sitting next to me. There's footage with the old chemical warfare in our faces over there, and I forget who exactly it was. I don't know. But anywho, that was his debut with this disgusting, filthy, grimy Dirtbag Dan, and he was the frosty one. He was going to run amok all over TOS. Then there was a year. There was a year worth of time where I teared a lot because he would kill El Jabroni over and over with people that would join his side and by himself.
El Jabroni, we were talking about that on my birthday, but I'll let you continue.
Yeah. Please, and we have to dive into that.
Yeah, we will.
And I teared many a time. I didn't know what was going to happen at specific training day because it was a Jake Diavol at the time and one Mr. Ryan Frost. So I brought lilies just in case nefarious actions happen. And nefarious actions happened, and we had to give lilies to one El Jabroni, and it was a sad day over there. But that poor kid has been killed more times than I can count by one Ryan Frost. But then at the very first ever Fight for Your Dreams, oh boy. Ryan Frost goes through a table. We lost our absolute shit. El Jabroni gets the big W. Boo! Things take off. And they explode for one Ryan Frost. Things take a different turn because now we have that damn TJ Howell and the Cold Cash and all of this stuff. Then they rip off my man's face, literally. They rip his face off. El Jabroni sent him a packing. We haven't seen him since. And I still, if you don't notice, and if you are noticing and you're sick of it, I don't give a shit. Hashtag where in the world is El Jabroni? I will keep it going until that mother bleeper returns. I still say he's on the Galapagos Islands with Dr. Hugo Strange getting the shit fixed. I hope it's coming together. It's been a minute. But then, Cold Cash, not okay, motherfuckers. No. And we got that rolling. We got that little tension. We got it a little thicker than I think it actually was with the help of all of us as a collective. And Cold Cash was not okay. Ryan Frost beats the snot out of TJ Howell. Now, again, Ryan Frost says he's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy. I just beat up different people. And if you guys want to love me, hey, I'm going to take that adulation. So that's exactly what happened. He was beating on that privileged piece of crap, and he took him out for us, the fans. And now Ryan Frost is near and dear in our hearts. And out of that burst, one of the craziest things I've ever seen in anywhere locally in Independence, especially one TOS, is the Frost Force has taken on a birth that is like none other. I know I've said a lot there, and I've been yakking. Talk to us about that whole transition from what he was to what he is. Talk to us about that embracing you guys, what you were bringing to the table for the newly transformed Ryan Frost. And thirdly, talk to us about your recent birthday present, please.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait for this, and I was hoping this would be able to come up at some point. So, first off, as I mentioned earlier, when the first interaction between me and Ryan Frost didn't go exactly the best as planned, like I said, I didn't know who Ryan Frost was. I didn't know if I was going to get to know who Ryan Frost was. And if I could tell you how this would have all came to be today, I probably would think you're nuts because I'd have no idea. Obviously, big match, Cold Cash versus my boys, the Stepdads, you know? Obviously, and I still think so fondly of this match because I still talk about it to this day, how great it was.
The Stepladder match!
The build-up was so good. Even the day of the show, we're sitting out there hanging out. You're doing your usual shabeel outside, and we're just chatting, waiting for the doors to open. Next thing you know, Stepdads show up. You're saying, "Oh my God, it's the Stepdads!" And they completely just walk by us, all business, ready to freaking go, dude. I'm having Attitude Era flashbacks. Me, Billy, we all popped so hard like it was the Attitude Era, like The Rock coming through the curtain, you know. And that's not to compare the Stepdads to The Rock. We were stoked. You know, obviously, you had the squad in the stepdad's corner, and Ryan Frost and Cold Cash had their own kind of fan base at that point too. So we were going back and forth all day. The craziest part about it was the minute Cold Cash goes through those doors, all you're hearing is "not okay" over and over and over, and it just echoes and echoes. It's so loud. Stepdads come in, monster pop. We're just going, let's go, stepdads, boom, 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 the whole freaking match. And it's just back and forth. And what I loved about it, every time they thought they had Rad Dad down, Rad Dad's kicking out because the squad kept powering them to victory. At one point, Frosty got so frustrated he wiped his shirt, he took his shirt off, wiped his ass with it, and threw it at me. I actually still have that shirt. So, it's a weird thing for wiping his ass with stuff and throwing.
That's okay. That's okay.
We were going hard. Stepdads come back. They win the match. Monster pop for the victory. I think Papa Bear even broke one of my signs over Ryan Frost's head that night. Match is over. The crowd, stepdads go to back. All of a sudden, the music stops, and you hear "not okay" just going over and over and over. It's getting louder and louder, and you're thinking, that's it. Is this going to be the breakup? And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, God. And then Frosty hugs TJ Hal. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. Are you serious? Next thing I know, Hal grabs the kendo stick from Aubrey and starts swinging on Frost. And all of a sudden, all this hate I had for this bald man who threw a shirt at me that he wiped his ass with, I'm all of a sudden starting to feel sorry for. And I'm just sitting there like, what the hell, man? He didn't, excuse me.
That's okay.
And I'm sitting there feeling so bad at this point, booing the hell. Next thing I know, I see the stepdads fly through the curtains with a golf club and everything. And next thing I know is the sight of seeing the stepdads in the ring with Frosty. And the crowd is starting to clap. They're starting to cheer. All you hear is a shake his hand chant from the squad. And then the Frosty fans all of a sudden start saying shake his hand. And I'm like, wait a minute, how did we make this? How? What's going on? We were just against each other the whole time. All of a sudden, did we just come to terms to be fans of the same guy here? Like, they started liking the stepdads. We started like Ryan Frost. The minute he shook Ryan Frost's hand, the stepdads, all of a sudden, monster pop. And all of a sudden, stepdads leave the ring. All you hear is Ryan Frost, Ryan Frost. And Frost is looking around and like I was thinking he was concussed. But, like, dude, he was he looked so confused at first. And I was like, I was confused because here we spent the whole match booing him. And now all of a sudden, now we're cheering for him. After the match, I'm having this heartwarming talk with him. He's thanking all of us like so many times. I had to grab a photo with him, which is that first photo. And then I didn't realize what this turned into. And the Frost Force started growing because every show going forward, we were getting louder and louder for Frosty. And the one show that sticks out in my mind more than that, Tough and Talented's debut. 2TW United States Championship match. So we're not sure who's going to be here. We're in Waterbury, Connecticut. The joke I made to Backwards Blippy on the way down there was like, how crazy would it be if we saw Ryan Frost here tonight? I made it as a joke. I didn't even think anything of it. We show up to the building. They announce the Fatal 4-Way match with a mystery opponent. So, of course, first you got Zachariah Gibbs. So we're like, oh, I know him from PAPW. He's the Amish dude. Let's cheer for him because we didn't know. Then we saw Hippie Dickie Moon. So all of a sudden we went from cheering Zachariah Gibbs to Hippie Dickie Moon. And I'm like, there's no one absolutely else that we're going to end up cheering for that comes out, Billy. I'm like, I don't care what you say. And he's like, well, what if it's somebody else that you like? I'm like, Billy, there's nobody else that could come through that curtain that would make me cheer that's not named RJ or Keith Youngblood and I was naming all these guys. And I'm like, and I'm sitting there thinking, there's no one else. Next thing I know, I hear Frosty's music, and all you hear is, no way! Oh my God! And you see this look on Billy's face, and I'm like smacking Billy's like thigh over and over and over. And he admits that after that show that his left thigh was this big ass red welt. And Frost comes out. We pop so fucking hard. and we're just chanting Ryan Frost over and over and over and over. And I almost had tears coming down. I was like, oh my God, I didn't think I could pop that hard, but I just did. And after the match, he wins the 2TW United States Championship. And it always means a lot to see one of my favorites win a championship. And it hits hard when I see them win, which is why I'm so pissed still with the Waterbury screw job, you know?
Oh my God. Oh,
Still
the
angers
fucking
me
Waterbury
because
screw job.
for those 2 minutes when Frosty won, I'll be dead honest. Dude, I bent over on the ground and I had tears coming down. I couldn't even contain myself. I was in tears. And Billy was trying to get me to come back up. And I couldn't because if the tears were just flowing so hard. And I finally like wiped the tears off my. Did you lose me? I'm sorry.
No, not at all. Before you continue, we're gonna stop right there. You have this emotion. Frosty won the big belt in TOS that he's been trying to get for a while now. I'm gonna spin it to the flip side. You have all of this emotion going on, tears of joy. Everybody in that place was losing their effing mind, like you said, for those 2 minutes. As soon as things turned around, I'm going to give you the flip side of this because I was on the opposite side, and there was this one specific girl. She's standing up and she's screaming at the top of her fucking lungs, Joey. This is fucking bullshit. I'll never buy a ticket. I'll never support. And dude, she lost her ever-loving mind. I mean, she calmed down after the fact, but she was so irate that they took that win away from our guy, Ryan Frost. She was that caught up in the moment, my man. She was caught up in that moment.
Like we were, and with the funniest part is when Frosty won, and this was a funny thing that was brought up the other night, is that we were joking about how Frosty just fist bumped his mom, but he came over and he hugged me and Blippy and Michael Herdman. That was the funniest moment. Tracy Frost, you're a saint. We love you. But the moment, and we were sitting there with all this emotion, happiness, and I remember hearing the replay, hearing brother Andrew on the I said that right? Yeah. He was putting over so hard. He was even saying, oh, this is such a great moment. And then for the Frost Force and everything, next thing I know, Q comes out and I'm confused and he's yelling in the fucking I don't know if he's yelling at Gina or he's demanding the match has to be restarted. He's showing the footage, and then that slimy, bald, 2000 dressed gangster wannabe Honest Abe shows up, and he's showing the replay, and all of a sudden the crowd, the cheers go from boos. The match is restarted, and then Frosty gets pinned, and all of a sudden Honest Abe, Q, and Marcos run out of there like HBK at Survivor Series 97. And I know, the crowd just erupts into the most, all you hear is a BS chant over and over and over. I think I kind of led that, and I'm not, and I felt so bad afterwards. No, I don't feel bad. I believed it was Frosty's moment, and I felt it was ripped from not only him, but from us. And, for us, I think I felt like not only, like, when Frost won that title, it felt like we all won that title with him. That's why when he got it stolen from him, like, I felt like they stole it all away from all of us, the Frost Force. And that's what broke my heart so much over it, to the point where I started the bullshit chant, then Blippy started saying it, then all of a sudden half the building was going BS, BS, and I'm like, wow, this is legit heat. Like, there is some massive nuclear like hate here for Marcos after this, man. And I was so heartbroken. And then fucking Q the next day on Facebook sends me a private message messing with me. I'm like, hey, Q, come on, man. I loved you, man. You were my brother, Q. Brother in pinstriped arms. What the hell? It broke my heart. And we went home all sad and depressed. That car ride home.
I'm with you, my man. I felt the sadness with you.
Not even Taco Bell after that.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
It's like, Billy's like, "You all right, Joey G?" And I'm like, "No, not even not even a crunchy Crunchwrap Supreme can cure my sadness right now."
Wow. Wow. Now that boys and girls for Joey G, that's a tough night right there. Um, I've seen Frosty from the day one of his career to what you just totally described as a culmination of what he's been working towards for a good few years here. I was on the other side with my phone recording, and he was gripping that TOS championship, and you could just see he was overcome with emotion. I'd never ever once seen Frosty that emotional since I've known him and his career, man. And I was just so damn happy to see him win that championship. Whenever that all got turned around, as you did, I drove home sad and withered, my friend. It was not a good night, and we have titled that the Waterbury Screwjob.
What's sad is like even and I was trying to look forward to Carlito at that point in the main event with Mike Skyros and Jordan Rowe, and that was fun messing with Jordan Rowe, but like I feel like it was like when you let the air out of a balloon, man. Like the energy was gone. I feel like we put it all out for that, and then boom, and it's not a knock against Carlito or Jordan Rowe or Mike Skyros. I got so much love for them. I mean, for Mike Skyros, I have love. I don't like Jordan Rowe because but but I felt like then the next day at work, I'm just sitting there sad. I'm talking to Mike Swicky, who couldn't make the show because his buddy Sal, he had to drive Sal to the hospital because of a broken rib. And I'm telling him at work, and he's just like, "No, come on." And then he took a frozen potato and he threw it against the wall in the freezer at Ace.
Oh my God.
But yeah, Frost has meant a lot to us, and I think why we're gonna keep going for that journey all the way. It don't stop until that championship is where it belongs, right against right around the uncrowned championship's waist, man. And he's still and is my personal opinion, Marco's his only champion by a technicality right now.
So. Oh yeah, and the only good thing that actually did come out of that whole whirlwind of BS right there was Justin Credible came out and punched Abe like 5-6 times. It was amazing. It was beautiful. I loved it, and I was right there because I was at where the entrance comes out. I was on that side of the ring, and I feel somebody run by me. I go, "Whoa, what the hell? Holy shit, it's Justin Credible." Pow, 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 right on Abe's face. I was like, "Oh my God, this is the best. Thank you." That was like an early Christmas present for me because especially what we just witnessed,
Yes, of course, man. And I remember how much I hated Justin Credible in the ECW, or when he was part of X Factor with X-Pac. No, but going back to no, I'm kidding. I love Credible. But now going forward, while that moment deflated me, my birthday brought me a lot of joy, and this is where the whole accumulation of the Frost Force has gotten so. This is I don't want to even say that this is the end of the story because there's still a lot more to this book. So my birthday just passed on August 2nd. Obviously, I've turned the young age of 37. And I honestly thought my birthday was just going to be nothing more than a quiet dinner out with a few friends. That's all I really ask for. I don't ask for much. I'm not, dude. My perfect birthday is just going out to dinner with my closest friends, my loved ones. This year I thought the specialist part about it was going to have Dakota joining me. Dakota, my little niece that I love so much to death. And who will be training at the TOS dojo in the year 2046. So. Oh. We've already made that plan because she knows how to do super kicks and moves already. It's crazy.
Oh wow.
So we and I spent the day babysitting her for Kelsey, which Kelsey felt so bad about because of the fact that it was my birthday, and I'm like, no, I love my niece so much. I have no problem with this. What else am I gonna do? I don't drink. I don't, I'm 37. I'm not gonna go get effed up and party all night like a single guy would do. So I don't have kids. I don't have a family to report to or a wife. So it's fine, And next thing I know, so we get ready to go out for dinner. Sideways Simon shows up. Backwards Blippy shows up, And what the funniest part about it, Simon just keeps sitting there telling everybody, we got to do this at 6:30. We got to do this at 6:30. 6:30. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, whose effing birthday is this, Simon? I'm not trying to be that cocky birthday kid, but come on, man. Why do we have like brought me a birthday gift off Amazon? You know, like why does it matter if it's at 6:30? Like you could just give it to me later on if it doesn't happen by then. And he's just so desperate to say 6:30, 6:30, 6:30 to the point where Kelsey's brings me to the side in her house and she's like, Simon's starting to really annoy me right now because I feel like he's trying to make this all about him. And I'm like, relax, Kels, like, because I don't know what's going on right now myself. But let me talk to Simon when he gets here. I'm like, Simon, does it really matter that much if it comes at 6:30 or not? Because I could promise you, whatever it is, I appreciate it. It's my birthday. It'll be special. We go out for dinner. We have some fun. You know, Dakota's here. That's the most I could ask for. That's probably the biggest thing that's going to happen today. Wow, was I wrong? So we left Kelsey's house to go to Outback Steakhouse. Because for those who don't know, Taco Bell is my heart, but Outback is my sit-down soul. Outback Steakhouse. I love Outback Steakhouse. I am a whore for the bloomin' onion.
Oh wow, a whore.
I know. I'm sorry, and I don't like sharing my bloomin' onion. So
No, that.
no, I'm kidding. I will share. But we go to Outback, and Kelsey's boyfriend James hits us up and says, the power's out at Outback, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh, that sucks, but it is what it is. So I'm like, let's just go to Applebee's and back at town. You know, I don't mind. Let's do something. You know. So I'm sitting there thinking this is going to be the greatest part. Did I lose you?
No, you're good. You're good.
Something popped up. That was weird. We walk up to Applebee's. I got Dakota in my left arm. You know, so as I've been holding her all day. I got Billy coming out, and he really can't hold people after his car accident. We know after what was going on with him. Thank God he's doing well.
Yeah.
And Simon's just like, oh, here's part one of your birthday. And he pulls out this bag, and it's a Taco Bell gift card. And I'm like, Simon, this is what you needed to. And I'm sitting there in the
6:30.
like, this was what you couldn't wait till 6. I had to wait till 6:30 for. And I'm sitting there looking at him like he's. I love Sideways Simon. If I'm sitting there, I'm like, you're nuts, man. There's nothing like this is the big thing. Like you know how many Taco Bell cards I've gotten already? I'm like how is this so big? I'm like, I don't know, Joey G. I think there's other things that might be a lot more bigger tonight. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what could possibly be more bigger than going out to dinner for my birthday with like Dakota in my arm? So we're walking into Applebee's. And we sit there and we see this dude lounging this bald guy lounging on the table over there. And I'm just like looking at him and I'm like, Billy, that guy looks a lot like Ryan Frost, man. I was like, isn't that crazy? There's a bald dude with like the Brass City Devils like sleeveless t-shirt. And I'm like, he gets up, I'm like, it is Ryan Frost! What the and I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, and Billy's just like, what? And I'm like, what? And we're just looking at each other. We're like double taking. And Kelsey's all confused because she'd never met Frost at this point. And she's like, Frost gives me a kind of a side hug because I got Dakota on the other arm. Gives Billy a side hug. And he puts his hand out. I'm like, hi, Kelsey, Ryan Frost. And I'm like, and he's like, who is this guy? He's like, he's one of the guys from TOS. He's like, oh my God. And now she finally meets you. I'm like, Dakota, this is one of my favorite wrestlers, Ryan Frost, and this goes on record as the first ever official wrestling meet and greet and wrestling interaction from my favorite little niece Dakota and any wrestler, and it's so awesome it was Ryan Frost.
Yeah.
And I look at Simon at that point. I'm like, you son of a bitch. That's what you had planned? He's like, happy birthday, brother. I'm like, how? Wait, how'd you pull this off? I'm like, how'd you do this? What the? And I'm sitting there confused. How did he manage to get Frosty to come for dinner? And then Frosty's like, that's not the only person here from TOS. I'm like, wait, what? There's more? You know, next thing I know, I see the GM come out of the bathroom. I'm like, and I'm sitting there. I was almost like, oh my God, how did you guys get here? And dude, they just made the birthday 20,000 times more special. And you know, I just sat there thinking it was going to be a little quiet dinner of Applebee's, just joking, talking. And then I got Ryan Frost and um the GM, Alex Rojas, sitting across from us. And I'm just the whole time I'm not believing this. I'm looking at Billy. This ain't fucking real, dude. This can't be French. This is not real. How is this? Is this real? I'm like, no, Billy, this can't be real. I gotta be dreaming, you know. And I tried to tell him to pinch me, but he can't because the side he was sitting on had his broken hand. And Dakota's just sitting there staring down like Frosty, like hi. And I'm like, and she's not confused. And then I would just, it was so cool just sitting there talking wrestling with them the whole time. So Frosty and the GM are just discussing stuff with TOS to Kelsey and James because Kelsey's never been to a TOS show, but she wants to come. It's just,
Okay.
like I said, she's got more open schedule. So you will be seeing her at more shows in the future. Where you're sitting there talking, discussing, and we're just talking nonstop wrestling. Your name came up a bunch of times. We were talking about how you started coming to TOS, you know, and it was just such a blast of a birthday, and it's one I will never forget seeing Frosty and GM, and it will be something I will never forget. It's probably the greatest birthday I've ever had for something so little, like more, you know. And I've had birthdays in the past that have been big things, like, you know, I've had big parties that were all about me. And the funny thing about it with me, and I'm such a humble person, I don't really like the big super extravagant parties, man. I want just like a simple sit down dinner. That's it. Like, I've had people throw me surprise parties where I couldn't, like, where I get overwhelmed with the emotion, and all I want to do is just spend my birthday like at a show or go to a Yankees game, and have a small dinner. And this just blew me away because it's just like all I did all day was the things I would want to do, spend time with my niece, and and then I was like, I wish there was a piece of wrestling today. And then boom, Alex Rojas and Ryan Frost show up, 2/3 of the Brass City Devils. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. And then I don't know, like, quote me if I'm wrong. I think GM said, had SWB not been teaching the dojo that day, he might have actually been able to join. And Measy was saying he wanted to come too. So that blew me away. And I'm just like, man, the relationship from Frost and me. And I said, never in a million years would what I thought, any of because it's always crazy to me. Like, when I see these guys outside of the environment of wrestling, it's still, because this is the third time ever I've seen people I've seen from shows now outside of a wrestling spectacular. Like, I've seen Hale Collins from NEW at a drive-in theater one time. That was really cool. And during COVID, 2000, and like earlier this year, I went to see RJ's band play, in Connecticut, which was a completely different experience. Just sitting there chatting with RJ the whole time, and it was such an honor to be there to support his band. I didn't want to ask many wrestling questions because it was a different venue, but sitting there and seeing Frost and the GM just sit down and have dinner with us, it felt so surreal. It was so awesome, and I appreciate it so much. And I thank and GM and Frost, I know you're gonna watch this later. From the bottom of my heart, man, you guys made my birthday so extra fucking special. Excuse my French again, but that was a birthday I will never forget for the rest of my life. Then that group photo at the end, and the perfect thing about the group photo that made it so much more special was it is almost impossible to get Dakota to freaking sit still. He had the perfect shot where Dakota was looking right at the camera, and it worked out. And oh my God, that might be my cover photo forever on Facebook. That's the birthday I will never forget for the rest of my life. And the only thing I feel bad about is I didn't wear a Frost Force shirt. So funny story. I was wearing the stepdad shirt, the Generation Dad shirt. So it wasn't like, Billy was wearing an NEW shirt. The GM was busting his chops about that. I even had a TOS shirt on, and I was surprised. I couldn't put the connection together. He's like, "Oh, I'm glad." When he showed up at the house, I'm like, "I'm glad I wore this TOS shirt." I'm like, "Why?" And I couldn't put the connection together. So, to be fair, I wasn't called out on the stepdad shirt because the GM did say stepdads are part of TOS, so that's not bad, But had I known, I wore my Frost Force shirt, man, because this is such a special symbol to me. And It's such an awesome shirt and it's such a special birthday. I call it the Frost First Birthday Extravaganza, which I really wish so many more people could have joined. Had I known the big surprise extravaganza, I would have had a blast, man. And this is a birthday I will never forget. And Dakota finally getting to meet some people that I see at the shows, man, and it's so special, and I'll never forget this birthday. From beginning of Frosty telling me to get a COVID test to telling him not okay to him being overwhelmed with cheers and pops and jumping into our laps to tears of watching him win the TOS title to being screwed out of the TOS title to showing up at my birthday. Ryan Frost is such an amazing freaking person. And I guess this is my return shout out to him after how he was shouting us out on your other Stirring the Pot. And Frosty, you know, for the end till the end of time, we love you from the bottom of my bald head like yours. We love you to death. The whole damn Frost Force, and as the Frost Force, as I said, keeps growing. I think you gain 2 more members. That 2.5 more members, counting Dakota.
Hey, bring him on board, man. Bring him on. The more of the force, the better. Jackie G, we have spent 2 hours. Now, I don't know if you can remember or have thought about everything that's been said since we've hit the record button, but just going to go over real quick what this turned into, and this is exactly what I wanted out of it. Last night was very specific direction because I've never met Greg before. I didn't know a lot of stuff about him. I didn't know where all of this creativity came, and we talked signs and we talked some talents and we talked some promotions. We mainly talked about what Greg had going on with his creativity and signs and such. Tonight, I wanted to talk about what we just fucking talked about right now for almost 2 solid hours is the relationship between the fans and the wrestlers that happen organically out of nowhere. And that was something that I did speak with on Greg. But this one I really wanted to, because I know you a little bit more. So I didn't know I was going to run into that with Greg.
And it's funny because the first time we did this, you barely knew much about me, and I barely knew much about you. Now it's like every show. Now we're talking nonstop. We're joking the whole time. Now we're having this 2 hour. First time was like maybe 40-minute conversation. This one went 2 fucking hours, bro. It's crazy.
2 hours. The times you go to the events, the more memories you make as fans with the other fans, and these friendships blossom, and you network with newer wrestlers that come up. And then I may not like him, but Joey G might like him, and I pick on him, but Joey G's trying to lift him up. These are the things that just keep going around and around in wrestling, and they keep us, this wrestling fam, afloat, and really just like, keeping that positivity going when you have, the dumb shit happen, in the shoot, if you will, as the wrestlers say. But the stories that that's exactly what I wanted out of this was the connections that you've made, and very specifically with a couple, especially how we ended it. I think we talked about Ryan Frost for about 30 some odd minutes.
How could you not?
But that's what I really wanted to focus on, was some of these relationships that we do have the honor and privilege of getting into organically just by bringing a sign or me sharing a clip or however it works out. I know we cherish them, and you speaking on them with the smile from ear to ear, especially talking everything about Frost, talking about Joshy. Oh, that kid. Just some of the people, even talking about Keith Youngblood, you're like, you still had a smile going on. Like, I am, the guy's turned a different page in his life, but, I don't know. We'll still see what's going on. But there's just that passion there, Joe. And I'm so glad we got to kick back. And, I know we talked a little bit about the signs, but I really didn't want to focus on the signs tonight. I think we had a great, great conversation tonight. And I cannot thank you for spending this much time with us tonight.
Don, I can tell you right now, I was looking forward to this all day at work, and all I was thinking about was I cannot wait to get home to have this discussion, because I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about in this discussion, because I wanted to touch on our first chat on this and what's been different since that first chat. I wanted to touch on my birthday, and everything I was hoping to touch on got touched on. Ironically, there's some things that I wasn't expecting, which I'm glad because sometimes the surprises are fun. I had a feeling Ty Shine was going to come up. I had a feeling that Fuji was going to come up. I had a feeling we're going to talk about Bruno. I had a feeling we're going to discuss a little bit of NEW, a little bit of a test of strength, everything that goes on. Because at the end of the day, I've said it so many times, I could be having the worst week in the world, and I did have a horrible week back in June. For those 2 to 3 hours of sitting there in that chair with the signs cheering, that could make the entire horrible week all worth it when it gets to that Saturday where we're traveling down to Connecticut, to New York, to Bethany, Waterbury. Hopefully, I can get down to Massachusetts at some point because I want to go so bad. But the jersey everywhere, it makes it so much worth it. And talking about the wrestling fam, I never really got a full-on chance to say something like this when I was going through the hospitalization I went through back in June. And I want to leave this on a happy note. I didn't realize, and I swear to God, this isn't like a sob story thing. When I was getting hospitalized, I didn't really know what my brain wasn't in the right spot, and I told Billy subconsciously, "Can you just let people know that I'm okay while I'm being in the hospital?" That's all. Because Billy, as much as I bust his balls, backwards Lippy, backwards Billy, I call him Hook now because of his broken hand. No. He finds it funny now. But but it's so messed up, but not really. He finds it funny.
That is so horrible and so beautiful at the
I
same
get away with
time.
it and be like one of my best friends. I told let everybody know that I'm doing okay. I didn't remember saying that. When I came back out of that hospital room 4 hours later, not sure what was going on, I got on I picked up my phone, I looked at my Facebook, and my inbox was full from so many people, from close friends I've known prior to wrestling shows, from people that I've met through wrestling shows, fellow fans like yourself, like Cindy, like Karen, like I'm I'm losing names here. From Karen, from Cindy, from everybody. I feel bad when I don't mention people now. I hate being that kind of guy. You know how humble I am. From everybody, every fan I've met, and then I'm seeing wrestling talent pop up in my DMs asking me if I'm okay, and I'm just sitting there overwhelmed by the emotion, by the support, by the love, and even for one solid second, that goddamn Jay Bougie even was asking about me. It's like, God, I know he needs me around to make my life a living hell, but fuck, dude. The point was, it got me so overwhelmed that when I got home from the hospital that day, I passed out from the overwhelming emotion. And from everybody, I love you all so much for that. Thank you so much, from the humblest Joey G to every person I've ever met through wrestling, through my friends, through my family who I've loved. Thank you so much. That meant so much to me, and it's another reason why I want to keep going to this day.
Joey G, I know we all go through stuff. Upstairs, it's a little hard to deal with at times. Sometimes you just have to pull the reins back, regroup, kick out at two, as they say, and push forward. So we're glad to have you healthy, smiling, sitting on STP, talking to this jackass for 2 hours and 2 minutes and 55, 56, 57 seconds. We have had an amazing conversation. We've talked about some fine, fine memories. And that was exactly what I wanted out of it. And I'm glad it went perfect. And I never have a formula. I don't. I never write a thing down, but I had this vision of how I thought Joey G should go tonight. And it went absolutely perfect. And we got to discuss some of that Ty Shine, ducking, jiving bullshit.
Two-handed.
So we'll see where all of that goes. But your message at the end there, Joey, beautiful. And we're glad to see you good. We're glad to see you smiling and hanging out with us here and chit-chatting because we want more Joey G.
You'll be seeing me at Tough and Talented in September, brother. I really appreciate it. But yes, thank you so much. Don, this was fun. This is probably the highlight of my day. You know, I've like, and I'm not saying that to sound depressed. Like literally, this was all I centered my day around, is making sure I got home in time for this. So, and this is the funnest I've had. I mean, I've always been having fun, but I was waiting for this all day, and I couldn't wait to get on this talk and be on Starting the Pod again. So, and hopefully, all my other members of my Frost Force at some point or time want to jump in on this, because guys, Don would love to interview you. I believe so. You have a blast. Look at me. I'm having fantastic times right here. Come on, man. Let's do this. Get on here.
Well, first off, thank you so much for the love and, being excited to want. And that's the thing. I never know if anybody, if the people that I ask, if they're, maybe waking up in the morning being like, fuck, I didn't really want to do this, but I signed up for it. Or if you're excited and want to do it. So I do really appreciate that love, first off. Second off, if you want to do something with the Frost Force, I've done up to 12 people on this damn Skype. If you want to do something with the Frost Force and we can, you guys can gather a date, a day or something that we can just set aside, not 2 hours. I can't handle all of them MFers for 2 hours. You want to get the Frost Force together, we can kind of coincide here with a date and time and really get it together. I would not have a problem with doing an SDP Frost Force style.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking about like Backwards Blippy, Sideways Simon doing their own solo episodes at some point. I've mentioned Billy saying he wants to do one, so
okay.
I think definitely be one to look into.
Stepdads, I know we mentioned you, and I know you weren't part of the focal point today, but we did. You were the focal point of episode previous of Jackie G. So I'm sorry if we didn't put the stepdads more up on the plateau, but we had a lot of Frost. We had a lot of Frost to talk about.
And then part in the they kind of, if you think about it, planted the seeds on the Frost Force.
They have, because they were the draw to bring the Stepdad Squad to TOS, which birthed the Frost Force, and it just all keeps going full circle. So I just wanted to apologize real quick, but we do love us. And they know it, and I probably didn't even have to say that as a disclaimer, but we love us some stepdads, and I know they love us. Don't touch the thermostat.
Man.
Beautiful humans. Jackie G, thank you for spending the time with us, and I'm glad you're feeling better because of the whole everything going on, especially with the COVID layer on top of it. So we're glad you're healthy. We're glad you're here. And I can't wait to see you at the next show, my man.
Of course, man. And for those who wonder, once again, if you want, and I'm gonna plug my podcast real quick.
Dude, of course. I was getting to the details.
Oh, my bad. I interrupted you.
No, hit us.
Obviously, you guys know, I still do the Sign Rip podcast. I know it sounds like it's been kind of dead. I recently just did an episode not that long ago with Slick Wagner Brown SWB. Like I said, I'm putting it out on a more when I can get the time to do it basis, because it's just been, with work getting crazy again. I just try to take a lot of my free time to do it. So I still do the podcast. And big news, Kelsey finally got her laptop fixed. So the Rising Star podcast that me and her were doing at the beginning, that's been on a hiatus with her trying to, with everything, is ready to get going again. That's going to be coming back real soon. Hopefully we got our first guest lined up soon. So we've got a guest in mind that has been on Stirring the Pot before, who's done this before. So I'm not going to give any names away yet, but it's definitely only hints I'll give is that he will be wrestling at Tough and Talented in September. That's all I'm going to say.
Dude, there's too many to pick from. Come on. Give us 3 more hints.
It's not that jackass Jay Bougie. Don, thank you so much for having me on this, man.
Yes.
That's the funnest part of my day today.
Thank you, my man. Before I let you go, can you give us 3 more hints on who it may be? 5 more hints, 4 more hints, 5 more hints, 6 more hints? No. Okay, never mind. Stop. Let's all fucking calm down. Boys and girls, keep your eyes peeled. Look him up on the Facebook, Joe Gramont. I like to call him Jackie G, and I don't mean to call him the wrong name, but it's just something that's taken on. Look him up, Joe Gramont, the Sign Rip podcast, the Rising Star podcast. You got plenty to choose from. That's all going to start coming out a little bit more. So keep your eyes peeled and follow his main page there, Joe Gramont, because that that's where the hootenannies are taking place, to be honest with you, along with some of the family times with Dakota, that beautiful, cute little Dakota. With such a fine conversation we had tonight, boys and girls. 2 hours, 10 minutes. I did not expect it to go this long, but here we are. But it doesn't matter because there's no formula.
Like
There's
20 already. Oh, I didn't realize that. Holy crap.
There's no formula. There's no runtime. There's pretty much no rules. There's like 2, but we don't even talk about them. I am telling you, what a great time we had with our friend Jackie G tonight. This is Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, Joey G. Thank you, my man.
Thank you, Don, so much for having me. This was a blast.